It's not quite the same story as when we kicked off the vote count 3 hours ago. In fact, if you recall, just over the weekend, we had that exit poll suggesting that Modi and his allies would win a landslide majority. By that, we mean about 350 seats, and that is the minimum. If it's up to Modi, he's looking for 400 seats, which would be a super majority, but not the case as the vote count continues 3 hours on. These are the numbers that we have right now in terms of BJP and its allies. We're looking at them leading in 278 seats, and for the opposition parties, it is 186 seats. Now, they're leading in 186 seats, which is a wider margin than most had expected. Remember that the opposition parties have struggled in the last two elections, but this time round, they came together under one roof, more than 20 parties calling themselves India, and they've adopted a policy of ensuring that people know that Modi's wealth, Modi's growth that we've seen so far, 8% is what we're looking at, has not been equal. And perhaps it is that messaging that's impacting the voters right now. So as it stands now, the BJP party and its allies seeing a narrower gap than that was expected, and hence we're seeing that playing out in the market. You talk about how the Nifty index currently down by about 4%. Remember, it rose more than 3%, which was the highest in about 3 years. It's given up more than it gained yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. The markets clearly had not priced in this result. And the results, of course, not fully rounded out, as you've made clear to us. A 6-week election, 640 million or so voters. What states, and they all have their own idiosyncratic stories, which states are on your radar, Haslinda, going forward?
Well, there are basically 4 states we're looking out for in particular. One, Modi's own home state, Gujarat. This was where Modi and his allies won 26 seats, all 26 seats that were up for grabs. Uttar Pradesh, which is the most populous state, here 80 seats up for grabs. If you want to win the election, you got to win Uttar Pradesh. And in the last election in 2019, we had the BJP and its allies winning 62. We're also keeping a watch on Maharashtra. This is where Mumbai is. You know, Mumbai is the financial capital of India. The thing is with Mumbai is that the traditional alliances have fallen through, so it is pretty much up for grabs. And the southern states, the likes of Kerala, the likes of Tamil Nadu, they have traditionally voted for the opposition. This time around, let's see if the messaging that we've seen from Modi has worked, or the messaging from the opposition indeed. You know, it is interesting that Modi put in a lot of effort in states which were dominated by the opposition parties. At 72, he had the energy to crisscross the country, you know, talking about the Modi vision, about the Modi effect, and how the country has done so well under his government. In fact, over the last 10 years under Modi, he says he has lifted 250 million Indians out of poverty, but that doesn't change the landscape. 900 million still below the poverty line.
Wow, 900 million still below the poverty line. In terms of the majority for Modi, translate that story for the market story, the expectation. Why is it important to have that majority for Modi, to have a sizable majority? What does it mean in terms of policy going forward for this leader?
You know, it's quite interesting, right? We talk about India growing at 8%. It is the fastest growing G20 nation out there. 8%. It's massive. But for India, it is not enough. It has a vision. It has an ambition. It wants to be a middle-income country by 2047. And for that to happen, it needs to grow at least 9% in the next 20 years. And for that to happen, we have to see very controversial reforms. Land reforms, labor reforms, and Modi will not be able to put in place all these controversial reforms if he doesn't have that supermajority. There is bound to be opposition to the changes he wants to make. He needs to get 400 seats out of 543 to push through the reforms he needs to make India a middle-income nation.